Hey gang, JC here, and this is the Daily Dose for Wednesday, November 9th, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Great television archives, top of the page, eye candy right below, including, make sure you go down there right below the eye candy and see the gallery of photographs in chronological order from your world champion St. Louis Cardinals from the 2011 season and postseason. I took about 60 pictures, or acquired 60 pictures, some I took, some I acquired, and we put them in chronological order for you, and it's right below eye candy, and it is terrific. Had almost 4,000 combined page views in just a little over a week, so people must be getting off on this, and I know a lot of people are forwarding the link and everything like that, so make sure you check that out. Also, our rock and roll poll question from yesterday: do you think justice was served in the trial of Dr. Conrad Murray, who of course was up for involuntary manslaughter charges on the death of Michael Jackson? And only 67% of you said yes. So that's a full third of you that believe what? That Michael Jackson got up in that stupor he was in, that frail body of his, when he was all drugged out, got up and administered the propofol to himself, a lethal dosage that killed him? Really? A third of you believe that? Huh? All right. The mayor is getting pissed off, losing his patience. I think Jeff Rainford's losing his patience even more, by the way. Mayor Slay thinks it's time for the Occupy folks to hit the road at Keener Plaza. Do you agree? Here's your choices. A, I support the cause and believe they have the right to continue the protest. B, I support the cause, but the protest has run its course. Or C, the whole thing is a joke and an embarrassment. He should give him the heave-ho, even if it requires force. Please answer down there in the corner. We'll have results for you tomorrow. How freaky is it that this asteroid passed by Earth yesterday? It came closer to us than the moon. If this thing had hit, it was the size of like 2 city blocks. And if this thing had hit, particularly in a population center, well, that would have probably been it. We would have been, you know, that's one of the things I want to do. I think we'll get an expert on or surf the net a little bit here and find out just exactly what would have happened if this thing hit Earth, particularly in a population center. Are we all dead? Are we like the dinosaurs? Is it a tremendous disruption, minor disruption? I mean, what happens? If it hits the water, you got to figure there's like the tsunami of all time. But somebody's got to know the answer to that, and if I was any good at my job, I would have done it already. But it might make for some interesting call-ins a little bit later on. We'll see. But that asteroid passed within 200,000 miles of Earth last night. Scientists say that happens only once in a lifetime, or if you're Larry King, about 112 times in a lifetime. Astronomers knew about this asteroid for years, but they did not tell anyone. Where do they work? Penn State. Lindsay Lohan's Playboy picture should hit the newsstands by December, provided the Photoshop guys agree to work around the clock. According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, there were approximately 13.1 million cosmetic procedures performed in 2010, and that's just Bruce Jenner and Joan Rivers. A European airline is going to be offering pornography on its flights, and you thought it was bad when the guy next to you on the plane, took his shoes off. The movie J. Edgar, Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Clint Eastwood, is coming out on Friday. We'll have a review of that movie Friday on the Big 550 KTRS, along with yours truly. Saw it last week. That Penn State story is getting just exponentially weird between Herman Cain, who's got we've got chicks popping out of the woodwork, and Penn State. And again, you start thinking to yourself, well, who's clean now? I mean, because this would be like somebody saying, well, we have a Mother Teresa sex tape. Or if you found out that John Wooden had been, completely corrupt or something like that. And it makes you start thinking, gosh, is Albert and our Kurt Warner like two of the last people sort of in the public eye, really, really extremely high-profile people who are, for all intents and purposes, squeaky clean? Because I'm starting to think so. And then you start thinking to yourself, oh, God, how long is it going to be before they get something on Albert or get something on Kurt? I just don't know what to think anymore. Because when Joe Paterno gets run out of town on a rail, things are bad. All right, so are the record labels officially pulling, or shall I say maybe killing off, the CD, the compact disc, which basically came into prominence on a widespread level, 84, 85 in there. You know, I mean, we had them prior to that, but they really started, becoming commonplace in the mid-1980s. And that was a quick run. That's how fast the technology is changing. And we are hearing that the CD could be dead in terms of distribution and new product, things like that, by next year. How about that? Speaking of technology, it gets a little worse every year. Now, I'm not a techno geek, but I do have a lot of technology in the house and TVs, and I have to have things hooked up to other things, and I use technology in ways that the average person probably doesn't. I'm always pulling sound out of my DVR and running it through stuff, and then you want to put a master on a CD, and then you want to do this and you want to do that, and so I have a lot of connectors and wires and cables and things like that. So that requires me to go to Radio Shack, or should I say the Shack, because if you've ever been in a Radio Shack, and if you're a woman, you're laughing right now. I don't think I've ever seen a woman ever inside a Radio Shack, but if you've been in a Radio Shack, you know that the whole place looks like, and this, by the way, is after about 2 years ago when they said, we got to really make these places more hip, and you go in there and it still looks like it was designed and laid out by the Audiovisual Club in high school. They wanted to make it more hip. My problem with Radio Shack is that they're too overbearing. I went in yesterday to buy 2 stinking connectors. A grand total of a purchase of about $12. And for years they've been bugging you for your phone number, and they almost seem to get almost a little indignant when you tell them, as I do, I don't give my phone number out. I think there's probably a lot of people around who don't want their phone number in the hands of people who you don't want it in the hands of. So now they immediately start trying to sell you more stuff. I went in, I knew exactly what I wanted, I got my 2 things, I walked up to the cashier, I wanted to get in and out, I was running late. This happens every time I go into these goddamn places. They keep, well, we got batteries, you need batteries, don't you? I'm going, no, come on, everybody needs batteries. They're arguing with me as to whether or not I need batteries. You know what I do when I need batteries? I go to Costco, and I buy like 64 of them for $3, and then I got batteries to last me for 6 months. So the guy's telling me, oh, everybody needs batteries. It's like, well, I don't. By the way, will you ring up the connectors and get me the hell out of here? And now I get coupons. Here, if you do this, you buy 50 of this. Now, if you buy $50 worth of stuff, then you get $15 worth of this, 15% off your night. And it's like, you know what? If I can figure out a way not to come into Radio Shack again because of all this, I'm going to do it. So not only am I not going to take advantage of all your special little deals and sales, and no, I don't need friggin' batteries, but I'm going to figure out a way not to come in anymore if you don't back off. And I bet you I'm not the only person who thinks like that. You go to the dollar store? I don't go to the dollar store. I think it's an encouragement to buy junk you don't need. However, it turns out they did a lot of research on this, and we've got a list of 5 things you shouldn't buy and 5 things that you should buy at the dollar store. Don't buy toys. They're usually cheap and they'll break. Batteries. Don't buy them there because a lot of batteries that are generic are made with carbon zinc, not lithium, and they just burn out faster. Don't buy vitamins. They find out that some of the stuff isn't even what's on the label when you buy cheap vitamins. Aluminum foil. Who knew that there were different grades of aluminum foil? And apparently, the generic aluminum foil and plastic wraps are really sort of crappy. And extension cords and power strips. They're not made well, and they can damage your electronics. The same thing goes for any computer wires like USB cables and stuff like that. So those are the things not to buy. What should you buy at the dollar store? Well, shampoo. You can save up to $2 a bottle. According to Consumer Reports, expensive shampoos don't make your hair look better anyhow. They just make it smell better. Buy cleansing products. Sometimes they're diluted, but the ingredients are basically the same. Greeting cards are really cheap. Spices, maybe not a good selection, but the ones you do buy are better, but you should check the expiration dates. And socks, of all things. Generic white sock, pretty good deal. They cost at least $2.50 a pair at regular stores, and you can get them cheaper at the dollar store, thus the name. An airport shuttle company surveyed travelers to see what would make their airport layovers better and more enjoyable. Number one answer, 1 in 3 people said wireless internet. That's free at the airport. 7% said they could use a place to get spa treatments like manicures and massages. Half of the travelers say they spend their layover reading. 1 in 3 say they just hang out at the gate. All right, Regis Philbin leaving live with Regis and Kelly. He's leaving on Friday next Friday, but Kelly has signed a 5-year contract. They have announced the guests for the final week. Jimmy Fallon, Don Rickles on Monday, Tony Bennett on Tuesday, David Letterman on Wednesday, Kathy Lee Gifford on Thursday, and then Friday is supposed to be a big surprise. Oh, by the way, Letterman, speaking of Dave, told you yesterday, my buddy Chris Albers from right here in St. Louis, who has got a couple of recurring characters on David's show. Dwight the troubled teen, and then this spoiled little rich kid who, the story goes, his father bought the television network, and so he makes Dave kiss his ass. And now he's got a new character that he's bringing out. He was supposed to be on last night, got bumped by Robert Pattinson from the Twilight movies, so we think maybe Thursday or Friday is when he's going to be on. All right, it was on this date in 1967. The Rolling Stone magazine put out its first issue. Remember what you got as a premium item? Roach Clip. That's right. Billy Joel's Piano Man album came out on this date in 73. The Berlin Wall started coming down on this date in 1989. And the album Bad by Michael Jackson, certified gold, platinum, and triple platinum on this date in 1987. I loved it because, it got so much publicity. It was just Michael Jackson. It said Bad. So Weird Al Yankovic put out an album, did the hair, the makeup, and the pose, and the outfit exactly the same way. And instead of bad, it said even worse. Pretty funny stuff. Me likes the Weird Al. I think he's a funny guy. All right, we got to look at these three clowns who are going to portray the Three Stooges from Mad TV. Will Sasso, Chris Diamopoulos as Moe, and Will and Grace's Sean Hayes as Larry. Farrelly brothers are directing this movie, and it opens on April 4th. There is a picture of what your new Three Stooges look like. I'm sorry, bad idea all the way around. All right, don't forget now our rock and roll poll question. What about these Occupy St. Louis people? The mayor has had it. He wants to give them the bums rush. Are you in favor of it or not? Please answer in the corner. We'll have results for you later on today and, of course, tomorrow here on the Daily Dose. And that is it, the Daily Dose for Wednesday, November 9th. 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.